What is up, down and sideways, you stunning individuals? It is another epi of League Unlock. Eric marching with you guys to dive even deeper into the Bonanza preview experience of the midseason invitational 2026. Today it is 11-1. We're doing the full team power rankings, and I think every installment of MSI has had a different number of teams, I swear to God.
It just seems like pick a random number out of a bag type of situation for MSI sometimes, but I'm happy to add another squad to the list, and absolutely going to be a thrilling time getting this MSI, and it's going to hit fast and hard here when we hit this event in the next couple of weeks, so better buckle up, get yourself ready. Let's dive into some preview.
We begin with probably the most surprising squad that's heading to MSI this year. They'll be in the play-in stage, the second seed out of the LCP. It is Deep Crass Gaming. They were fifth in the regular season, went 3-4 below 500, and then the magic came in playoffs, where obviously the highlights were beating GAM not once, but twice. That was the main thing that qualified them for this event. None of the members were on an all-pro team in the LCP, and all of them will be making their international debut at this event.
Right, so that's one of those things where keep expectations low, keep it in check, and realize what is the real prize. What's the real goal here for Deep Cross Gaming as they head to this event? And I think at the end of the day, it has to be get this exposure, get this experience at this type of level. And, you know, whether it's going to be something that you can implement as soon as Split 3 and trying to get that title as the number one spot from the LCP, but at the very least make it to the World Championship, and that's where you want to see this type of value of experience come through. That's what the angle I think you have to look at this event for with Deep Cross. Yes, there absolutely is the angle that they can be a dark horse upset, you know, underdog type of personality and run through this event. But I think the chances of that are very slim when you look and consider the rest of the teams that are at this event.
I'm almost willing to guarantee they take Team Liquid to 5 games, though, in that play-in stage. I don't think they beat them, but I think Team Liquid makes the entirety of the LCS sweat in a series against them. That just seems like an already done script.
I'll just say be very cautious about the Nocturne. I think that is one of the picks that you need to be careful from. Your boy Pop9 in the jungle for Deep Cross Gaming, certainly someone that can push that champion. And again, we know the region can use that champion to very aggressive type of ways, and very much so something I would be cautious of if you are a Team Liquid in that regard.
Next up is a squad that you're very familiar with, especially if you're a fan of the LCS in the 10 zone. It is Furia, who were second in the regular season, but went 9-1 in playoffs to roll through, go to their second straight MSI. It's the exact same starting 5 from last year, and of course, we know that they were the America's Cup champions earlier this year after dumpstering Cloud9 3-0 in those finals.
And so very much so hot on the radar, I think, of anybody in the LCS at the very least, and very much so should be for anybody else at this event, because I believe this is one of the squads that has been leveling up, has been gaining since that first stand that we had just a couple of months ago. Getting this type of opportunity so soon, this is exactly what you wanted if you were Furia, to showcase that type of improvement, that type of level up, and coming back to the table with maybe a couple of new plans, a couple of new strategies when it comes to taking down these teams that they will be underdogs against.
And again, sleeping on them less even so than Deep Cross, because they have so much experience. They're already into that main stage, so you're going to be seeing them in multiple best of 5s, and the potential is there. I don't want to say upset as in taking a series, but definitely pushing some of these squads to the brink and leveling up the CBLOL region as a whole. And at the bare minimum, they're going to bring a lot of hype. Even though this one's not in Brazil, they're still going to be incredibly riled up if they get any type of kills against their opposition. In the 9th spot, not a victim per se from Furia, but often a victim from these wildcard regions, and that is Team Liquid, who, if you remove Lyon from the equation and look at what Team Liquid did in playoffs, you're going, man, well, they were fantastic. 9-1 against squads not named Lyon. The problem is they were 0-2 in those two head-to-heads against the champions from Split 2.
And it was so ugly against the champions from Split 2 that you are hard-pressed to have any real confidence about this squad, which is a real shame because, as you laid out, the run that they went on to close out this split outside of those games against Lyon would certainly be enough to gain some confidence in this Team Liquid squad and to that they are starting to finally get towards that real core of talent that you thought this team was built around and had, with especially someone like Quid in the mid lane and what he was capable of and what type of MVP level performances you could get from him, pairing him alongside Jan in the bot lane, bringing over Morgan from the LCK, what you had capable. It's good, but is it going to be good against what is other great level teams here at MSI is the real question. And unfortunately, the answer that you have seen so far, given the matches against Lyon, you can answer with a no for Team Liquid. And that is going to be the, I think, the pain point for a lot of LCS fans when they think about these next matches ahead for Team Liquid.
Yeah, and listen, you saw Quid there had the most solo kills in the playoffs. There were glimpses of his return to form throughout this playoff run, but really this whole split has been just glazing Jose Dioto for this squad and kind of saying, where's Jan and Core JJ? And hey, where's Morgan? This guy was supposed to come and kind of dominate the LCS. We haven't seen anything close to that.
Oh, and I think when you are looking at this lineup and you do look at the international stage, yeah, you're still going to want a lot of those answers to somehow come up in your favor, talking about, Morgan's performance more so like the Lord Morgan, the real threat from the LCK is something that you want to see. And yes, you look at the bottom lane of Jan and Core JJ and you think that you can get more from them. And of course, Quid in the mid lane, as we have already talked about. But I think that really, when you look at where you are going to be threatened at this event, I think having Quid be that MVP level of mid laner is the number one requirement out of the gate for Team Liquid in order for them to even tread water at this type of event when you're looking at everybody else.
Especially when you look at even the competition, the other squad from the LCP coming in a spot ahead of Team Liquid. That is, of course, Team Secret Wales, who we have become very familiar with now. It's their third straight international event. The entire squad was the first team All-Pro, including Histo getting MVP for the league. Undefeated in the regular season, undefeated in playoffs. The last time this team lost a series domestically was January 23rd, and it just so happened to be against Deep Cross Gaming, by the way. But we're approaching 5 months, Mark.
I don't know about you guys, and maybe this is just a little bit of getting too old territory. I can't remember anything that I had going on in January at that point. I don't know how you can even remember what it's like losing at this point if you are a squad like Team Secret Wales, but always one of those things where even with that excellency, you keep that little doubt in your mind of as far as what type of performance you are going to be getting, especially still a region like the LCP, which has been growing, has been gaining in that type of standing, but still has a little bit of that unpredictability when you are looking at some of these squads. And I think it's a team like Team Secret Wales and how dominant they have been, unfortunately, will fall into that category for some people where no matter what, they will always remain just that little bit skeptical about just how truly strong a team like Team Secret Wales is. And that can be your downfall when you step into a series with them in the way that they have been able to dismantle everybody in their path. Very much so excited to see them get this crack at first stand.
Yeah, I think a successful tournament for them probably looks like winning a series against a Western squad at the very least, being competitive against the LCK and LPL, sure, but I think winning against an EU or NA squad would be a check mark for this team and the region as a whole. One of the squads they'll be looking to do that against is the lone LCS team sitting in that main stage in Lyon Gaming, who I feel like might be a comparable level to Team Secret Wales right now, but obviously second in the regular season, undefeated in playoffs. Saint has had an incredible split. He got first team All-Pro over guys like Quid, but the real story or turnaround for this squad is, of course, that Castle signing. He came in, swiftly went 0-3, and since that move, Dokla as a starter is 12-2 and has played his best games of the year on this squad.
And this is actually shaping up so well for Lyon in this regard, because the player that you would identify as wanting to have a better performance, a bounce back, needing another opportunity on the international stage, I think you could point a finger more so than at Dokla in that top side, because he was someone that struggled at the first stand. And I think that he was someone that, again, myself and others had identified as someone who could be strong at first stand for Lyon. So for it to go the other way and to now have the run that he has had through these playoffs, and especially under the challenge of having your position taken away, starting position role removed, getting that type of result from him and having now this opportunity on the international stage to rewrite the script, very much excited for that opportunity, that angle for Lyon. And as you also mentioned, Saint in the mid lane has been very strong in the last couple of matches for them. Certainly something that will be an improvement and another, sharp teeth angle type of thing to add to the roster for this Lyon Gaming, as you look at them and kind of judge, as you think rightly so, around that power level of Team Secret Wales. Still, again, falling in maybe in the same type of category of uncertainty with the LCP, the same way that you look at any type of success, any type of traction in the LCS right now.
And obviously, second straight international event for them. I know it was a disappointing first stand, finishing tied for 5th, 6th, but I think both Saint and Berserker are playing at a much higher level than they were in that first split and that first international event. So expectations should be a couple pegs higher for Lyon at this event than what we were getting at first stand. Expectations are also a little higher for the second seed out of the LEC. Of course, the problem for Karmine Corp is you're going to have to beat T1 to get through. But if there is a possible angle for a mega upset in the play-in stage, Karmine Corp is the team to be able to do it. They are the best behind T1 in play-ins.
This is one of those ones where I think you just were never counting on this being the situation that it would be, is having a monster like a T1 or would have been a potential Gen G or someone else in that type of area from the LCK stepping on into this play-in part of the tournament. But that's the world that we're in, and you got to buckle up if you are Karmine Corp, because yes, you are very talented. Yes, you have shown us a lot of strength this year and would have been one of the top contenders in this part of the tournament. But now you need to readjust, knowing that you are not the favorite in this regard and how you approach that. And still plenty on the table for this group, still very much so in line. And when you're wanting to see from them, looking no further than the bot lane, of course, needing very much so to have that impression on the international stage, and is one of those strong suits for the team. I think as well you can look at Kana, someone that can be motivated for this event back in Korea, back in front of the T1 fans, and time to show out as a member of the Blue Wall. I think that would be one of the story angles that I would look at for Karmine Corp.
Just don't pick Brand into Doran. Don't pick Brand into T1. We don't want to see any of that. But yeah, potential Pays Kalist matchup, also an absolute banger in that one. So KC, I just wish two teams could get a play-ins, because it does seem a little harsh that KC probably going to fall to the wayside, the victims of T1, a squad that's very familiar with being a victim of T1, but luckily, thanks to BLG, Top Esports doesn't have to go through the play-in stage. They're right through into the top, and obviously, people probably feeling a little less hyped than they were a mere week or two ago about Jackie Love and the boys after getting slammed a bit by BLG. But, I mean, they were good in their other matchups. The win against JDG was the main, thing to hang their hat on in playoffs. It's the first MSI for Top Esports as an org, and Jackie Love's the only guy on this roster. They have two rookies who's actually been at MSI before.
The very first game is going to tell you everything you need to know about Top Esports at this event. I think it's as clear as that. What form they are in. Are they absolutely zeroed in, locked in, and ready for this type of event from the get-go, carrying any sort of attitude from the LPL, then I think you've got a chance, right? You've got a top esports that will be with that contending level at this event and ready to throw down if something goes sideways. But I think if you are a top esports that rolls out, that shows up to this event and anything close to how you looked against BLG in your last time out, yeah, it's done and dusted. This is a top esports that would be a wasted spot at this event. So absolutely going to be crucial. This very first game, the preparation and the execution within that, that's where my pressure and attention is going to be on this top esports team.
The expectations are a lot higher for the squad one ahead of them in top esports, and that is G2. Fresh off an immaculate finals performance from Skewmont, where he gets MVP, and all of a sudden you're going back-to-back split titles for G2. Remember, they made finals at first stand. If they somehow pull out like a top 4 run at this MSI, you're looking at 2026 for G2 right now as one of the best in years.
And I just think that it's strange, but they are done somewhat of a bit of a disservice by the rest of the LEC, or having to frankly just return to the LEC at that point, because you're maybe not giving them quite the credit, quite the points, and leaving them still in that powerful position that they exited first stand in. I think that is one of the takeaways for me when we've moved again so many weeks away, so many months away from that type of event. That type of memory can start to fade. And so I think remembering what they did at first stand, how strong they were against some of this top level competition from teams like a Gen G, like a BLG that they will go up against, very much so in favor of G2 and the way that they have been leveling up throughout this split. I think the way that you have seen from Broken Blade, I think from Hansama, and as well from, of course, Mr. Caps in the mid lane, always very crucial things, but none more so than Skewmon taking the next steps in the jungle for this team and stepping towards this event. I think the expectations absolutely should be on repeating some more of those type of miracle run situations like we just saw at the previous first stand taking down Gen G.
And they go as far as what level Broken Blade is going to be at in the top lane. Because Skewmon's world class right now. It's just, is BB pocket pick era when he's at his best, or kind of getting gapped by some of these other top laners? That'll be the main question. Rounding out that top 3, it's a squad that hasn't won MSI in nearly a decade. And the most recent guy to win it on the roster is Pace. It's not Faker at all.
Maybe that's the angle all along for T1, we have the world championship success on lockdown, no question. We got that one in spades. We can even let it, go out to the rest of the LCK. But MSI championships, MSI success, that has been rare and unattainable for T1 in the recent history, and a large part of it due to that guy, Pace, on the other side with Gen G at those times finding a way through. But now he is donning the T1 red at an international event here, and very much so excited for T1 to get this opportunity to edge out a squad in Gen G, their rivals, for this opportunity. I think this is going to be not only a viewership boost for everybody, but I think just in general, having T1, having these personalities at this event here, it's going to be a pretty meaningful one.
And, T1 historically we know is a team that levels up throughout an event. So I'm extra scared if you're anyone else watching them have to go through play-ins, even if they're going to be mega favorites. To get to warm up and ease into things is a scary T1.
They're the opposite of top esports. With top esports, You're going to learn everything about them in that first game. T1, you could learn absolutely nothing about them in that first game because they can absolutely ramp it up, get up to speed at a tournament just like that from game to game situation. I don't think a squad like Top Esports is going to show us that type of variation at the very least here at MSI.
Lost in all the storylines coming into this event, or at least less talked about, I think, is not just BLG, but BLG still being on the path of a golden road. I know it's still early, but 2 LPL splits, first stand champions now coming into MSI. Not quite as the favorites because there's another LCK squad, but after their 15-3 run through the lower bracket, you're feeling a little bit better, a little bit safer with BLG at this event.
Yeah, and I think the reason why you're maybe not getting some of that conversation about a golden road is it's been slightly turbulent for BLG throughout this entirety of the year, wherever you want to check in, early or mid, whatever, it doesn't matter. It has been a bit of an up and down, bumpy road for BLG compared to the standard that they would have expected being one of the top tiered elite squads in the LPL. But at the end of the day, that is the results that we have gotten from this BLG team. Has been at that elite top tier level of the LPL, making their way through as champions. And this is one of those ones where I think that conversation will start to heat up if you're able to go through an MSI with this type of run, make a championship run through here, add another one through, and pick up that next leg of what would be the golden road. I think that is absolutely where that territory, that conversation becomes a very real reality.
And, this is all about, obviously, Knight, regular season finals MVP, 5 out of 6 weeks was mid of the week. And this team, they only lost 8 games total in the regular season. They lost 5 to World Elite in playoffs. So that squad obviously just had a bit of their number. But as dominant as Knight has been in the mid lane, probably as equally dominant Kanavi has been in the jungle for HLE. And how about him being the only member of this HLE squad that's actually captured an MSI title?
Oh man, that's the sleeper stat line to go with for Hanwha Life into this one, is that Kanavi is the only MSI champion on that lineup, which is going to matter at this event because I think this is a Hanwha Life that is heading in with a lot of power, a lot of talent towards this event, but absolutely maybe outside of T1 in the play-in stage because they will, regardless of who is there, always be carrying a target on their back as that dynasty organization. But I think when you're looking at Hanwha Life here, you've got a pretty big target on your back from everybody else, sizing you up at this point as someone that is, again, entering in as that number 1 seed from the LCK and the respect and power that position carries with it. But some of the questions, right, still around with it when you do look at a lineup that only has one MSI championship. I'll tell you, they've got world championships, so you don't really need to worry about that one quite as much, but it still will be a factor when you're looking at this event and trying to find your edges and angles and all these type of things.
Hanwha, I think, still have a bit of that chip on their shoulder from the 10th place finish in split number 1, and they have been dominating their way since that first split. But that is it today for League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you, absolute stunners. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you on that flippity flip.